you guys all doing today? Woo! Yeah, no one but us will understand. First, I'd like to thank Gurpreet and Matt Curry and Zach Neufeld for the job that they did so far on these presentations. You know, Gurpreet came out of the gate and set the bar pretty high. And I doubt that I'm going to come up with a better one-liner than "it's easier to care than be an ass." But if you guys remember that one, I'm going to give it my best shot. So this is the Prove You Care core value workshop that I've been working on the last number of days, and I'm looking forward to presenting to you. And I know in the whole scope of things, talking about a subject for an hour isn't really the thing that's going to make or break or become the be-all of living your core values or making your life better. But I think the constant reminder and bringing this up in our meetings on a more regular basis is something that we're working towards. All right. So as some of you might know, I'm doing my Great Game of Business coaching certification course. And I think I'm 7 weeks in, and in another, say, 6 weeks, I'll be certified at a level 1 level, and there's 3 levels. And at the end of level 1, I will be able to go in to help and shadow other coaches to help bring this type of operating system, the open book management and Great Game system, into their businesses. So I'm going to start with something that we were working there. So they provided me in some of my training with a 10-step outline. And I'm going to tell you what we're doing here. So here, in this 10-step outline in how to implement open book management into your company or the Great Game of Business, we needed to, 1, start with the right leadership. It says, if you're not prepared to learn, teach, and share, and be involved, the game will not work for you. To me, I think we've done that. You know, we've been at this for 13 years, and we're still looking at it like there's a drawing board on a regular basis. So we're willing to learn, we're willing to teach, and we're going to make it work for us over and over. 2, share the why before the how. People get much more excited about how when they clearly understand why. So we've created our vision, which is not as clearly communicated as it should be and will be in the future. We've also got a purpose statement, and we've got a great set of core values. So we know we all landscape. We know it's a mindful choice for everyone to be here. So that's some of the why. We opened the books, step 3. Take it beyond just sharing the numbers and begin to build trust and mutual respect through transparency and education. We do our financial literacy stuff. We do best guesses. In the future, we're going to have some more formal type of financial literacy training. Fun stuff. You won't be becoming accountants anytime soon, but you know, just the basics. And I think number 4, focus on the critical number, define the win, and get clarity on what's most important and critical to success. So if we remember back to our high involvement planning meeting, which we have once a year, there's lots of people in this room that weren't there, and they won't understand what I'm talking about, but it's a meeting we have once a year to relook at where we're going in the coming months, the 12 months, set our financial scoreboard, and talk about the things that we think is most critical to our success in the coming months. So can somebody help me remember what the 2 critical numbers that we chose were? People? 2 critical numbers. What's the other one? Profit. Exactly. Perfect. So, why profit? Why did we choose profit?
Because without it, we can't run.
Yeah. You know, in my coaching now, there's some coaches that would say choosing net profit right out of the gate is a difficult one because it assumes that people understand the financials and stuff like that. I think we have a really good system of getting people up to speed and understanding that it's just revenue minus cost of goods minus overhead equals net profit, and we base our number on our profit share on that. So I think it shows the whole picture and the true education behind the financials. So can anyone explain why we chose Right People and how we planned on sharing profit and tying it to the critical number and our profit share program. So if anybody who was here last fall went through that thing, we sat in the high involvement planning meeting, and then we made the rules of the game for this year. And believe me, I know it hasn't been as clearly as communicated as it should be, but what were the rules about focusing on the right people and having these core value meetings and stuff as it relates to sharing profit?
The core values is related to our profit share this year.
Yeah, how?
And that if we don't do them, that everyone we miss takes a sixth of our profit share away.
Yeah, that's some pretty serious shit in my mind. I don't want to lose that. So the reason why we chose that, Matt, I think is because the people and the businesses that get the people part right moving forward in this day and age, and probably in every day and age, are the ones who are going to dominate their industry. There is incredible opportunity coming up. And there always is incredible opportunity. There's going to be more for the next couple of years until inflation starts to rise and stuff like that. We live in a microeconomic bubble here in Kelowna, and there's always been plenty of opportunity for us. Getting the people right allows us to grow at our healthy level, or however we want to grow, and let's just take advantage of that. So we're trying. Okay, so today I want to talk about number 5, act on the right drivers. Create a line of sight and ask people what they can do today to make a difference. So anyways, that's what we're talking about. So the next one is, next slide, core values board. So there's our core values. How did we come up with these?
Collaboration. Yeah, it was collaboration between some people that were here for, three plus years or so, and have been invested in the company for a couple of years. And we came together and said, who do we want to work with all day, basically, right? And then we broke that person down into kind of 6 headliners.
Yeah. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't everything that any one of us can do to really make the difference and move the needle towards wherever we want to go exist in these? Is that why you guys put them together? I played a very limited role in this.
Essentially, yeah. Right? I mean, you have all these, like you were saying, someone that we would want to work with so that we can move forward and make progress as a team, right?
Yeah. Like if you read any one of those bullet points, that's something you can do every day to better yourself in the company and in life. Like read any single one off. Ask questions, be curious. Boom, that would help you. That would help the company.
Drive ourselves to be better than yesterday. Color outside the lines to solve problems. Lead by example and be the model. Always work like the client is watching in everything we do. And so I'm really proud of this. I played a very limited role. I was in Mexico. And how we came to this was when I decided to sell and bring in some partners into the business, I realized that the old values needed to be redone. They're very similar because we're very similar people in our values, but we needed to redo them. And I said, I'm really not going to be the biggest part of the future of the company because of how we want to operate and bring employee owners in, et cetera, that we needed to have the voice and of the people that are actually going to lead the company as well. And that created more buy-in in my mind. All right, so next one. Push play, please.
The remote's right there if it's too quiet.
Welcome back to the Get in the Game workshop. I'm Steve Baker, and this is step 5, act on the right drivers. Now, we've spent time making sure that we reflect on our own leadership characteristics. We've shared the why before the how. We've opened the books, and we began teaching the numbers, and we've identified our critical number. Now we want to find out what are the really good drivers to that critical number. The right drivers give employees line of sight from their daily actions and decisions directly to the most important goals of the organization or the critical numbers. Make sure you define the critical number as what we want to achieve and the driver as how it will be achieved. As we think about the right drivers, we want to take action on measures that typically are on the lead side of things. So a lead measure measures progress. A lag measure measures the results. Let's look at some examples of the right drivers. A lead measure could be activity. A lag measure, outcome. A lead, behavior. A lag, result. Lead, cause. Lag, effect. Now in our examples, a driver would be a lead measure measuring progress. A critical number would be the lag measure measuring success.
All right. So as Steve, and Steve's the guy I interact with on a monthly basis from the Great Game. He's the vice president of the Great Game. Explained that, and just like I did, we're going through those steps, and this is where I think we are today. So, there we go. Oh, here it is. So as Steve explained, we have lead and lag measures. We have drivers and we have critical numbers. Which words that he used below best describes our thought of tying bonus to our core values out of these words here? For the lead, which word do you feel? Sorry?
Behavior.
Behavior? Okay, everyone agree? Right, that's our lead measure. That is what, in essence, the core values are. They describe behaviors. Each one of our behaviors. Ones that we agreed that would be most critical to wanting to work here and growing the company. On the lag side of things, which word here can we use to best describe the critical number or this? Result? Yeah, result or outcome. I'm sure they're both good. So this one comes up here, and we say behavior. Makes sense. So now we have our lead drivers, our behavior, and our core values, and that's why we're doing all this stuff related to core values. And in essence, the right people could have been described originally as a driver. If we would just put net profit as our critical number, the right people might have been a driver, but we usually don't tie such a big bounty to a driver as 6% of each core value workshop, whatever it is, or 6% of our profit. A six, yeah, exactly, so not a 6%. So we decided to have two critical numbers, and we put a bounty on both of them. Net profit and right people. That's what this is what we're doing here. Okay. Colette? Next. So why prove you care? Anybody?
Because the basic human desire is to feel felt and understood. So if we're maximizing on that, you win everything, people.
Yeah, exactly. And I just felt this was the only core value that I spoke up about when Colette ran everyone through the exercises. I think the core value was care, or at the time, and I said, sorry, show you, or no, it wasn't. There was no action item to it. And I know because we kind of talked about that, and I was in Mexico, and I said, look, I'm not coming back from Mexico unless it says prove you care. And I was kind of serious for more than one reason. It was almost mango season. Tacos were good, but still, I just really believed that that if we don't put prove you care in there, that just the word care would mean something entirely different to you as it would to you. There's so many varying levels of care because everyone believes they care. And I just wanted to say prove you care, and I wanted to put it here and kind of identify what it is we were saying we were caring about. Next, Colette. Core value relations, okay. And again, so beyond that, and why prove you care? And I think you summed it up really well there. the basic human desire, but here's our core values. I really think that prove you care sits in the exact center of everything. I think it touches on everything. If you really cared about yourself and your future and the desires that you have, whether they're shared or not shared, you might do a little more to be a go-getter. It's up to you. If you really cared about our clients, you might obsess, and you really understood how your actions of obsessing over their needs affected the outcome for you personally and the company in general, you might obsess a little more of great service. I think the same thing goes for communicate. If you really understood how much it meant for the other person to receive and reciprocate communication or any one of these things under our core values, you might do that. Be creative and a little weird. I think if you really proved you cared, we would allow people to be them more often, be themselves more often than we do sometimes. And of course, work together. Working together. And I think we do a lot of this stuff, guys, and that's why we have such a great company here, but we're still putting a focus on it.
It just seems like each of those is a way to prove you care.
Exactly, and that's why it kind
Their
of
service is proving it to the clients, work together and communicate is proving it to your teammates. The creative one's almost for yourself a little bit more.
Yeah. And that's important, to prove you care to yourself by looking after yourself.
I think you could very easily put any one of those into the middle and relate it to each other.
Yeah.
Prove you care is definitely important, but I think they're all connected.
True, but I really think that if you had a theme for your core values, I think that the prove you care would be a better theme than communicate. If you were talking about how they all relate.
I think we could have a good debate over that.
Well, we won't. So we won't.
Save it for communicating.
Colette, next one? Let's play this one.
Do you love your life? Yes. Right? Prove it. Like, what's the metric? Give me the number that helps me know, right? Because when you met her, you didn't love her, right? Now you love her, right? Tell me the day the love happened. It's an impossible question, right? But it's not that it doesn't exist. It's that it's much easier to prove over time, right? So all leadership is the same thing. It's about transitions. So if you were to go to the gym, right? It's like exercise, right? If you go to the gym and you work out and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing. And if you go to the gym the next day and you come back and you look in the mirror, you will see nothing, right? So clearly there's no results, can't be measured, it must not be effective. So we quit, right? Or if you fundamentally believe that this is the right course of action, you stick with it. Like in a relationship, I bought her flowers and I wish her happy birthday. And she doesn't love me. Clearly I'll give up. You know, that's not what happens. If you believe there's something there, you commit yourself to an act of service. You commit yourself to the regime, the exercise. You can screw it up. You can eat chocolate cake one day, you can skip a day or two. You know, there are lies for that. But if you stick with it consistently, I'm not exactly sure what day, but I know you'll start getting into shape. I know. And the same with the relationship. It's not about the events. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency, right?
So that leads me back to one of my first comments was about, my introduction was, it's not really going to be about this 1 hour. That's going to make or break you or the company or be some sort of epiphany. So anyways, let's talk about that. What was meaningful? What stood out with you with what Simon was talking about?
Definitely the consistency part.
Yeah, consistency.
You know, it's hard to set that standard, to do it every day is even harder, I think.
Yeah. It's tough to measure something in the moment, but over time, if you really believe that.
If you know, I mean, we all know when we're doing, acting in accordance to.
Totally, but that's tough.
It's tough. I think the good point here is that living your values is not the soft stuff in business. You know, a lot of people in business at the big high corporate level would talk about, you know, this being the soft side of the business and the numbers and stuff like that being the hard side. I don't believe that. I believe that this is the actual hard stuff because when you do accomplish this, I really feel that everything else is a byproduct. When we accomplish this, there is more what?
Profit.
What else? Anyway, Pete.
Teamwork.
Teamwork.
Culture. Quality relationships.
Quality relationships.
Progress.
Progress.
Communication.
Communication.
Room for growth.
Room for growth. There's just a whole lot of good stuff that comes out with putting an effort into what you're doing to live your best life, in my opinion. And it's not easy.
I would say I think the belief portion of it is really interesting too, because it's just something that human beings do that not a lot of other animals do. Is you're doing things based solely off the belief that in the future it's going to pay off for you. So like, it can relate to anything in your life as well, but especially with work. Like sometimes you're doing it and it's really hard, and like you may not know why. And you got to go back to those beliefs and understand like why you're doing it in the first place.
Yeah, good point.
Another thing would be opportunity. You know, if you stick to your beliefs and stick to these core values, you know, you're more receptive to bringing in new clients, new people, you know, neighbors,
Yeah.
other people like that.
All sorts, yeah, exactly.
And that's just pertaining to, you know, our business here, can be applied elsewhere.
And I think Tyson's point is very valid. I mean, because if we really talked logically about it, you know, there would be no reason for us to have a negative belief about at least putting an effort forth here and not actually receiving the benefit at some point in the future. It could be instant. Like you might get a code green that day if you obsessed over great service, but you might not. That client might not be in the type of person who expresses himself or communicates, but he's been with us for 10 years and he pays his bill on time and stuff like that. So this is kind of all, I think that these really are super interrelated. Colette?
There goes a lot to them, especially with the units when, I don't know what construction stuff, like half our clients are not even there for like most of the year. So you just work there, like I've worked at sites for 2-3 years, and sometimes I see the client 5 times, and it's like, you want me here? Am I doing a good job? You know what I mean? But you know that you are, because they're happy paying their bills, and there's no complaints. Sometimes there's code greens when they actually show up and use their house.
Yeah, exactly. So do you think that this great game of business, higher law, the first higher law, you get what you give, is kind of an easy way to say it all? I think so. I think so. Colette? Oh, well, it means a lot. Okay, so just a little interactive stuff, guys. We talked about Improve Your Care, build strong relationships with our team, clients, and community. So I'd really like the participation. That's really how you show me you care. Everybody. What means a lot? And you can spit out anything here. Just say clients, community, and you. What do you think means a lot to our clients?
Quality service.
Quality.
Feeling valued.
Consistency.
Open communication.
Valued, which one? Here?
Clients.
Clients, valued. Receiving value. Or feeling valued. Okay, valued is good. Yeah.
Feeling appreciated
Appreciated, where?
under you.
Okay.
Job satisfaction.
Job satisfaction. Satisfied.
I think stress-free for clients.
Stress-free?
Maybe a better word for it. And you come back to your yard after being away for 2 months and there's just nothing you can pick out.
No worries.
There's
No
no
worries.
issues. It's just to come back and it's perfect. It's
Stress-free.
just a good feeling, right?
I said clarity, I don't know if there's a better word for it as well, but like, just like being in the loop, like your clients being in the loop, like sometimes they don't care if it takes a month. Yeah, so it's open done as long as they know what the plan is for it, like, it might take a while to get the plan.
How about inform?
Yeah. Involvement for community.
Involvement.
I
don't know if you can sum it up in a single word, but even just like keeping, you know, noise down and, you know, keeping neighboring sites clean.
I was just gonna say,
I don't know what.
Respectful.
Respectful, yeah, there you go, that's probably the best. For community.
Yeah, like no one wants a trailer and truck parked on the street taking out half the road, but you know, it's nice for us to be aware of our presence and try to keep our sites clean so that the other neighbors don't have much to complain about.
Okay. So even if the little things mean a lot to you guys, there's only, I can tell you right now, you guys only care about being appreciated and satisfied. Is that right?
I like being heard.
You heard. Okay, here we go. Heard. What means a lot to you, Louis? A small thing that someone
Small
does.
thing? My whole team means a lot to me. Like,
If someone
because
was
I'm
to
not
use-
out with anybody.
Yeah, but on a behavior. When you're out in that, what means a lot to you in your nursery?
How everything's growing.
Yeah.
I mean, it means a lot to me that I'm actually doing something for the team. I'm
Yeah.
growing everything
So
that I can for them.
So I mean, that could be. It probably means more a lot when you know that other people appreciate the same thing, and they actually show it. Hey, what are you growing in there, Louis? You know, can you tell me about your favorite shade plant? That kind of thing probably means. I know you really well. We've known each other
The
for a
work
long
that
time.
she's doing is valued by not only herself but by her team.
Yeah.
So gratitude?
Sorry?
Gratitude?
Gratitude. So appreciated.
Genu-
No problem.
Like genuine interest. You're interested in the other person. You're interested in what they're doing.
Interest.
Under community, being neighborly.
Neighborly. Oh, I agree.
Say patience under you.
Patience.
Relationships.
Yeah. And I think, yeah, I think that is so true. Anyone? Slaughter, what's something small or big that people?
Happy.
That you, sorry?
Happy. Just being happy. And you. Probably a shit on me.
So I'll tell you one that I like, that and I'm not perfect at it, and I don't think anybody's perfect at any of this. It's like, I like the concept of not leaving behind something of yours for someone else to deal with. Just dropping it. I get that because I used to clean the Spall Plaza parking lot at 5 in the morning before I went to school in the summer, or not in the summers, but before summer when my dad worked in there. And it really irritated me when people would open up their door and dump their ashtray out. And from that day, I just couldn't handle trash. And it was probably before that too, but at any rate, that was something that really stood out in my mind. So just being aware of what you're doing when you're walking by something or seeing something over there. So awareness means a lot, okay? So there's probably an endless list here, guys. So we're just gonna keep on going. What are some positives?
Trust.
Yeah, trust. That's a good one.
We should be able to fill this up quickly if we all participate.
Morale.
Building relationships, you know, yeah.
So building.
Yeah, I guess I would call it building relationships, building morale between each other. Yeah.
Okay. Building and morale. Chizen.
Well, I think you gain respect as well from that.
Yeah. So when you prove you care, the positive you receive from that.
Every job we do it like if it's our own. We do it well.
And when you prove you care, you're probably building that person trust and respect back in yourself, which we all know can be lost pretty quickly. So.
Team camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
Self-growth.
How do you spell camaraderie? Yeah. Oh, that's all messed up. That's not an N. Okay. Growth, personal growth.
I think with personal growth too, I mean, it's the same thing, but like, yeah, you learn a lot about yourself. When you prove that you care, you can see what you can always see what you're capable of when you're pushing the boundaries. So if you push your boundaries with proving you care, then it's like, oh wait, I can do all these things.
So there's a lot of different things here, but
Awareness of others as well, sorry.
no, I'm listening.
Yeah, you put self-awareness, but I'm thinking awareness of others. If you're proving you care, positive is that you're aware of what your team is feeling as well.
Awareness times 2. Got it. Totally.
You said we're going to fill the board.
Yeah.
You got to write a little bigger.
I'm just waiting for people to tell me. What are some positives from proving you care? Look at these ones.
Here's teamwork. Okay.
Profit.
Profit, exactly. Let's think outside the box here, guys.
Reputation.
Sorry?
Reputation.
Reputation.
Brand, right?
Yep.
Happy clients, happy team.
Sense of community. Happy wife.
Okay. How about a shorter accounts receivable period?
Yeah.
I can tell by looking, no, seriously, I can tell by looking at a company's financials a lot of times. If they consistently have accounts receivables that are exceeding the past due date, that they do not have satisfied clients. That client is actually wondering if the people that are doing the work care about them.
Being punctual.
Sorry?
Punctual with yourself and your timesheets. That helps out the team a lot.
What are the positives of that?
Yeah, I'm proving I care by showing up 5 minutes before 7 and heading in my element all day.
Okay, hold on a sec. So I know what this is. Make admin happy.
Hell yeah. Well, even just showing up on time, constantly, right? Even if it's 5-10 minutes early. No one's there. You know, not everyone's looking at what time you show up, but if you consistently show up before 7, it's gonna prove that you care.
Yeah, and you don't have to question whether that person's going to be there or the client always knows.
Yeah,
they're
accountability.
going to be there.
Let's just talk quickly about okay, so let's move on to this one. Not proving you care, negative. So if you don't prove you care, if you don't participate, if you don't do these things, if you don't obsess over great service, go the extra mile for the client, leave everything better than we found it, etc. Work together, offer help and encourage others' success, encourage team collaboration and solve problems. Be creative and a little weird. Engineer some fun into your day. If you don't do these things, be open-minded. If you hang on to those deeply seated beliefs, the ones that can change, if you realize that they can change and you take some measures to change them. If you don't prove you care, if you don't participate in the events, if you don't show genuine and interest in others, if you don't communicate, if you don't reciprocate communication.
Well, if you don't do all of that, then you don't have a team, right?
You don't have a team, so that's a negative. I would say.
Loss of opportunity.
Conflict.
Yeah. Conflict.
You're never going to grow.
No clients.
Misinformation.
You're going to have conflict in your
Yeah.
Like when you prove your care.
Negative conflict. Negative.
Yeah.
Negative conflict.
There you go.
For the most part.
Yeah.
You know, it's one of those things. Are we getting better problems or bigger ones? Yeah. So that's I think.
You know, I
what we
think
want.
there's a lot of teams out there, like landscapers and everything else out there that do know, like, prove you care, right? Except they haven't been taught the other little things that shows that you care.
Quite possibly.
Well, I think everyone believes they care, but we're saying, how do you prove it? That's what I think. That's what separates us from everyone else.
Yeah.
And what we said, obviously, was if we put a focus on it, there was a better chance that we were going to make it a reality. That's what all this was when we talked about this in last year's meeting.
Yeah, I think the people that we're hiring are aligned with these core values for the most part.
Yeah.
And so if they're not doing these core values, it's generally a conflict within themselves. And I think that's a big part of why our culture is so awesome, because we are hiring for the values.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're learning about a lot of that in your coaching classes and stuff like that. Yeah.
Say for that specifically, for me looking for a new job, I went through probably 50 places, and you guys stuck out like a sore thumb, and it hit every single thing that I would desire in people. And you guys are a shining example, like day in, day out. It's not just on paper, like that's the standard that you set. So everybody rises to it, or they fall out of it out of their own insecurity that they're not willing to step up to it.
That's right.
You want to take over here? Well, I'm sure you would have done a better job in less time than me. So let's quickly, the science. What's the physiological science behind the positive, like the positives and the negatives? Jacob, what perpetuates more positives or more negatives?
In ourselves, just the biological part of that is, just actually getting more dopamine as you're taking care of others, and as a backfoot, effect on yourself is that you're almost taking care of yourself without even knowing it. You get a hit of dopamine and serotonin and endorphins or whatever it exactly is.
Yeah. So as you can understand, a negative environment perpetuates negative beliefs, which perpetuates negative actions. A positive environment does the opposite. That's exactly it, because you can become addicted to both. Yeah. And just look at families that just never seem to break the cycle.
And you can become addicted to the cortisol, which is the stress, right?
Yeah.
It could be exact same thing. You can be doing all these negative things, and it's just giving yourself more and more cortisol, which is making, affecting your beliefs, saying, what, I am right, everyone else is terrible in this world, but you want to be on the positive end and get that dopamine and move forward and continue with these.
Yeah, that stuff's fascinating. That's not the stuff we learned growing up. We just think, everyone's yelling at you because you're no good. But that's simply not the case. We can simply choose what we do. And when we choose what we do, we can pretty much guarantee that as a result of what we choose to do, they're going to follow each other. Okay.
I think it's like it is biological, but at the same time, I think it's a lot more behavioral. I think whatever you put out about the world is exactly how you think about the world. So if you just are negative to everyone and everything, then you just think the whole world's negative. You think everybody's going to be negative to you, and that's just how you are. And if you just choose to be, and like you said, you get back what you put out.
It's the feedback loop, right?
But yeah, like you just be positive, and people are generally, for the most part, going to be more positive after you. It's the law of attraction.
The law of attraction, exactly. Yeah, good. Okay, next one, Colette. We've already done that one. Next one. We talked about this already. Living up to high standards is the hard stuff. But what this picture tells me, what does this picture tell you though? If you could say something about that, something positive about it.
They're out of place, the two guys in the middle.
Outside their comfort zone.
No, look at the...
Something positive about it.
Oh, sorry.
Nuns are happy.
Nuns are happy. So in this tells me that people are accepting to a certain degree. I don't think anybody expects me to live these 100%. I sure the hell hope not, because we're living imperfectly perfect, which means we're going to make mistakes, which means we're going to take a side trip. We're going to, as we're trying to lose weight, we're going to have some pizza and pie and stuff like that. But the beauty of it is, if it's present, if we are having a system by which we're bringing what we desire to the forefront, that there's a better chance that you're going to be reminded and as opposed to it just being forgotten. Matt, we do this every year. Yeah, we have all these grand ideas in the winter, and then as soon as the season starts, we have to get the work done. And we put it on the wayside. That's why we tied a sixth of each one of these presentations to the critical number, to the profit share. That's why. Cool. This also tells me that although they're accepting, he's probably not going to stay on the bus very long, right?
He doesn't like the
I love this part because
This guy's running around, he's so negative where Samuel L. Jackson is just having the time of his life.
Yeah.
And it's all perception.
It's all perception and beliefs, exactly. So what this tells me here, it's arguably there is nothing more important than getting the right people. That's why we listen to the feedback, and you listen to the feedback from our year-end survey, stuff like that, and we chose right people. The core value was just the driver and a way to try to support our efforts to getting the right people in the room, the right people on the bus. That's what that tells me.
And I think then with the right people, we're talking about the person, who they are, and not specifically what they do. We do make mistakes, like you said. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. You're a good person, that's why we hired you. We're gonna make some mistakes, and we're gonna give you feedback on those mistakes, and on positive things, but it's the human that's still there, that's still a good person.
Yeah.
To remember always.
Yeah, and it breaks my heart when we lose a good person to what I believe is a misconception of intention. It kills me, you know, because I don't want to lose people in my life. I'd rather not be changing the people like socks, you know, unless the socks don't match. The socks don't match. Well, Tyson wouldn't care, but he does it all the time. But but I just that's what I feel. So next one. I think that this type of stuff is our effort to get everybody rowing in the right direction. In the same direction, I should say, not the right direction.
I think, like, some people, it's not natural to reflect on your beliefs, to be self-aware, to, you know, to even talk about any of this stuff. It's not the norm for a lot of people. So even someone coming in, they might be the right person, but they're just not there yet because they haven't
100%
been open to this kind of discussion or these thoughts or processes before, and they have to get there.
Yeah, and so I think for the people that are in that space, for the people whose neural pathways have already widened, for the people who have had the positive reinforcement and dopamine rushes, and the people who don't have that clutter in their way, that humility and compassion are going to be absolutely huge in rising other people up. That's my opinion, you know, and I'm not always good at it. You know, sometimes I just want it done now. And there are times when it just has to be done now, and we have to choose our attitude and put on an act. We have to act that day. We just have to not say anything and just get the work done, because we've made promises, and part of this is delivering on promises, you know. Part of the teamwork and part of you guys wanting to be here is us making promises, and us, the company making promises, and us delivering on them, getting paid on time, having plenty of work, good work, making neighbors jealous since 1994. How's that for a promise? Are you guys working on any projects right now that wouldn't make the neighbors jealous? This company is delivering on that promise, and there's a reason for it. It's you guys. It's the work that we're doing. So I think that's huge for me. And if you guys remember back to your promise on your personal scoreboards and in your, even when you signed on, that each one of you made a promise to live to the core values. Right? Remember when we did that? That was a big part of me using those personal scoreboards was, what do you promise? Well, I promised to shovel. I promised to show up on time, bring a work boots, no workplace harassment, stuff like that. But also was to do your best to try to live to the values. Will we do it perfectly? I don't think so. What do you think the minimum standard is? If you guys were to do a self-assessment on each one of you, what do you think the minimum standard as a percentage should be set when we're talking about these, if we're going to move the needle towards our vision?
80%.
80%.
60%.
I might be, as you can see, I might be over 80% here, right? I might be.
Depends on the day.
Yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. That's my point. We're going to be like this. It's going to be, there's going to be ebb and flow. but recognize that in other people, and let's create business systems and support amongst us that'll help support and maintain this. Awareness is a big part of it. Colette? This stuff is about the type of awareness that hopefully helps us understand that the power to affect outcome lies in the palm of our hands. No one else is going to get you different results. Would anybody argue that? No? That's it. That's my presentation.